Welcome, fearless creators. Today we're diving into the mystical and eerie world of the Headless Horseman. Ever wondered how to bring this legendary figure to life? Well, you're in the right place. In this video, we'll guide you through the process of building the torso of the Headless Horseman from start to finish. From the worn, tattered coat to the sinister, weathered look, we'll show you step by step how to craft this torso with simple materials, some creativity, and a touch of Halloween magic. I began doing some research on the types of Headless Horseman costumes that were done in the past. Besides the Disney costume, which is always exceptional, most of the ones I found were either too gory or too simple. I wanted the costume to be light yet sturdy, and the face of the wearer had to be completely hidden or else it would ruin the effect. The clothing also had to be removable so it could be cleaned, and it had to be able to fit anyone who wore it. So it looked like I would have to start from the beginning and design my own. I drew out a plan for what I wanted the torso to look like, along with the structure, materials, and how I wanted the clothing to attach. For this project, you will need some EVA foam, pool noodles, contact cement, a retractable utility knife, zip ties, nylon webbing, plastic side release buckles, material for the cape, material for the see-through collar, and an old jacket or coat. To begin, we will need to create a pattern for the upper shoulders of the horseman. I used an old duct tape dummy I had made of my torso years ago by surrounding the upper shoulders with aluminum foil and then duct tape. I then drew the pattern lines and registration marks onto the duct tape. Once I had the pattern made, I cut out all the pattern pieces and notched out all of the registration marks with a pattern notcher. If you don't have one of these tools, I highly recommend grabbing one. They are inexpensive and make notching out registration marks a breeze. With a Sharpie, I transferred all the patterns onto a piece of poster board, and then I used these to transfer the pattern onto some EVA foam mats from Harbor Freight. I wanted the shoulders to be sturdy, yet light. To create the harness, I followed the same method of foil and duct tape on my duct tape torso again to create the harness for the rider to wear. After transferring the pattern onto some 5mm EVA foam sheets, I was ready to cut out the patterns from the foam. I applied a thin coat of weldwood contact cement to both edges of the shoulder pattern pieces, waited 5 to 10 minutes, and then carefully pressed the cemented sides together to create the shoulders. I did the same to assemble the harness. To give the seams of the shoulder more strength, I sanded the edges of the seams, applied contact cement to both sections, and applied thin layers of 2mm craft foam across the seams to give more support. I then assembled the final two halves of the shoulders. To create the attachment straps, I cut a small piece of nylon webbing to loop through the plastic buckles. I then hot glued the pieces together to form the straps. To cut the slots for the straps, I used a small hole punch to punch the edges of the slots and cut out the middle section with a retractable utility knife. I then pushed the strap through the slots and glued them to the harness with hot glue. For extra support, I glued another piece of 2mm craft foam over the edges of the strap. You can see here how the whole harness is strapped together on the torso. And here, you can see how the shoulders will sit above the head of the wearer. I then cut some length off the top of the neck to better represent the dimensions of the horseman, as well as cutting out the front section of the shoulders so the rider could see forward. And keeping the whole torso lightweight, I decided to use pool noodles as the support structure to mount the shoulders of the horseman above the harness. I beveled the edges of the noodle with a retractable utility knife so that it would sit flush against the harness. After using contact cement to glue the noodles for the harness, I zip tied them to the harness for extra support. I curved the pool noodles around and attached the ends to the back side of the harness. I then mounted the shoulders onto the top of the pool noodles with contact cement and some more zip ties. I now had the base of the torso completed and could work on the outer costume of the torso. To create the front of the costume, I used an old black linen jacket I purchased from Goodwill as the base. I cut off the arms and back of the jacket and sewed the seams closed. I then sewed Velcro onto the edges of the jacket to attach to the torso shoulders. I created a collar for the rider out of an old curtain from Goodwill to see through, with Velcro edges as well so the collar could be removed for cleaning. The cape was created from some black material I purchased from Walmart. After measuring the length from the collar, I cut out a semicircle, finished the seam edges, and applied more Velcro to make it removable. As an added touch of layering, I purchased a web pattern table runner from the Dollar Tree that I sewed onto the collar of the cape. The torso is now complete. The harness is adjustable and can be worn by anyone. It was a perfect fit for our rider to become the Headless Horseman, being both light and easy to see through, This inexpensive torso gave us a great way to create a very creepy but regal Headless Horseman. That's it for now. Hopefully I've given you enough information to create your own Headless Horseman torso. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you can stay notified of upcoming videos, and make sure finding time to be creative is on your agenda.